OCO lovelies, OCO, come on in. Welcome to another episode of the Church of Lovely. Not your grandmama's church. This is a church for the new age, for the next paradigm, for the new earth, the great awakening. There are many names that are attributed to this season that we're in, to this magnificent, fantastical, terrifying moment in this new epoch. It's one that transitions on a variety of levels on this planet every 12,000 years, every 6,000 years, and every 2,000 years. And regarding the latter, the 2,000-year cycle, we are coming out of the age of Pisces, designated by the phrase, I believe. Right? Where we as Christians refer to as believers, and entering the age of Aquarius, where one goes from believing to knowing. The age of Aquarius is identified by the phrase, I know. And it is so important to know in this hour and in this season, my dear lovelies. It's not going to be enough to believe. We're not going to be able to survive on belief. We are going to have to dive into the rabbit hole of knowledge, or we will perish. The Bible is clear. The Holy Writ is clear that we perish for the lack of knowledge. That is why this age of Aquarius, where the Spirit of the Christ is being poured out on all flesh, is so important. I'm not going to be with you long tonight, as I know a lot of my lovely readers, fans, and supporters know. I am honored and privileged to be the caretaker, the primary caretaker for my elderly parents. And we had a bit of an episode today with my dad. So my retired Reverend Daddy. So those of you who know of my journey with this or know him, I appreciate all of your prayers, your love and light sent in his direction. But I am going to cut this short because of the ongoing little challenge that we're having with him today. And I will, what's the word I want to use? I will expound upon this brief version of the Church of Lovely that I'm going to give you today, later on in the week, because there is a lot to cover, right? So I will do that, and I thank you for your patience, and I want to give a special shout out to all of the caretakers everywhere. It is my honor and my privilege. It is also a major challenge to be a caretaker. Caretakers are not given the credit to which they are due. It is not for the faint of heart. Similar to this journey coming out of religion and into true relationship with the Most High, not for the faint of heart. Going into this new age of Aquarius, letting go of the old paradigm and embracing the unknown, not for the faint of heart. Right? So if that is not you, if you're not ready to pick up what I'm putting down, it is all good. We all have our own journeys. And because the Most High is omnipotent, omniscient, omniclairvoyant, and omnipresent, your journey will still be surrounded by the Spirit of the Most High. I am not here to convict, convert, or confuse anyone who identifies as Christian or any of the other Abrahamic monotheistic religions, including Judaism or Islam. But this church's mission and my mission is to be a bridge of support to those of us, and there are millions. Every time I listen to one of my peers or go on YouTube or any of the other social media, I am just so thankful for all of those brave souls willing to let go of everything they thought they knew about everything they thought they knew, and to listen and embrace that spirit of awakening that is happening within them. And that's who I am here to support. Those who are coming out of a strategically produced slumber based in deception, a paradigm purposely built to steal, kill, destroy, and deceive, which are the primary traits of the Most High's adversary, or opposite, called by many names, but known for sure as the enemy of our soul. I am here to let you know that you're not crazy, that what you're hearing is the voice of the Most High. I jokingly say that it took Spirit only 7 days to create the heavens and the earth, but 10 years to pull me out of religion. And I also say, with no joking matter at all, that you, my dear lovely, don't have that kind of time. So without further ado, I want to get to another disclaimer, as I will be reading from various sources that are online. So I want to read this disclaimer. The copyright disclaimer, section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commenting, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. I want to be able to not reinvent the wheel, but to present to you historical research that are done by those way more qualified than I, to just let you know, just to give you some encouragement that you're on the right track. And also, because I'm going to cut today's service short, I want to give you a little homework. We're not going to be having Bible study this Wednesday, okay? But instead, I would like to present a few other suggestions for your reading pleasure that will in this month, as we delve into Jesus, the man, the myth, and the mystery, that will help you with a broader perspective of why you're feeling the way you're feeling right now, why the religion that you grew up with, that your mother grew up with, that your grandmother grew up with, is no longer working for you, because the eye of our understanding is being enlightened in this age as the Spirit of the Lord. Okay, here comes my preach. The Spirit of the Lord is being poured out on all flesh, and those who are open are receiving the revelation. The first book I would like to recommend is by James Valiant and C.W. Fahey, I believe is how it's produced, but it's called Creating Christ: How Roman Emperors Invented Christianity. And the second book I would like to recommend, and these are just two that I've come across. There's so many. There's a plethora of research, extensive, exhaustive, that has been done on this character that is by far and away the most important figure of the past 2,000 years, known as Jesus the Christ, or Jesus Christ, or Jesus, Mary's son. The second book I would like to recommend is Caesar's Messiah. This is the book that I have read more of than the other, and that I will be quoting from briefly today. It is Caesar's Messiah, the Roman Conspiracy to Invent Jesus. And this book is written by Joseph Atwill. And if you are able to take just a little pinky toe into these works, you'll be more equipped as you continue on your journey into the truth of who the figure Jesus is versus the Christ consciousness. I also encourage you, if you weren't able to watch the series that I just concluded, the 4-part series called The Second Coming of Christ and Why Most Christians Will Miss It. We go further into separating Jesus the man, Jesus the myth, Jesus the historical figure from the coming of the Christ as written about in Revelation, called the quote second coming. I go into detail in that series, so please check it out if you haven't been able to do so. Okay, so speaking on, again, very briefly, this topic of Jesus, the man, the myth, and the mystery, I will go to, for my first reference, I will go to, I believe this was taken out of Caesar's Messiah. I'm not 100% sure, but this is just a very brief foundation for you to start with of how we're going to start breaking down Jesus, the man, the myth, and the mystery. The first thing to consider is that the Gospels were not written by the followers of a Jewish Messiah, but by the intellectual circle surrounding the 3 Flavian emperors, Vespasian and his 2 sons, Titus and Domitian. Okay? The Gospels were written following the 66 to 73 Common Era War between the Romans and the Jews, and many of the events of Jesus' ministry are satirical depictions of events from that war. Okay, this is definitely taken from Caesar's Messiah. Okay, one of the books that I referenced. A third thing to consider, the purpose of Christianity was supersession. It was designed to replace the nationalistic and militaristic Messianic movement in Judea with a religion that was pacifistic and would accept Roman rule. So there was a war going on. There was gangbanging going on back in the day between the Messianic Jews and this new empire that was coming in under Constantine, where Rome wanted to rule the world. That has never changed. They're still trying to rule the world, which is why it is more important than ever to wake up. And that's why I'm so excited for those of you who are just brave enough to be open to the possibility that we don't know everything, that we may have been lied to, hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray. Because those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. And just as the Roman Empire of old presented this Jesus figure, the man, the myth, and the mystery, we are in line for it to happen again in our lifetime. I believe within the next 7 years. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that's a prophecy given to me by the Most High. I'm just looking at the writing on the hieroglyphic wall. I'm just looking at the writing in the sky. I'm just looking at the writing in the earth, okay? And saying that they're really, really positioning Christians to receive a new Messiah. That's a whole other video, but we are going to talk about that at some point in time. Okay? And there's one last thing I would like to present to you to think about as we, and I don't think I'm going to call this a series. Maybe I will. I don't know. I tend to like series. Maybe that's because as a writer, I like to write series because you introduce a family, you introduce, a city or a fictitious place setting for your book, and then you have time, you have more than one book to develop this great saga of a story. So this perhaps will be my next series. We'll see what goes. We'll see what happens next week. But I think that this may be the series called Jesus, the Man, the Myth, and the Mystery. There was one other thing that I wanted to present before I wrap this up and get back to my dear daddy today. And right now I can't see it, so maybe I'll just go ahead and wrap it up right now. Let me see. Let me go into the shorts and let me just see if I can see one more thing. You know what? I think I will just leave it there. Let's just say that the Jesus that I learned about in church is not the Jesus that I now know through research and enlightenment from the Most High in my own study as an adult and as an adept. So I will leave it there, dear lovelies. Again, thank you for your love and light from my dear daddy and my mama. Because my mama had an accident a few weeks ago and cracked a couple of ribs, and so it's been a journey over here, and it is one that is mirroring the journey that we're all destined to go on in these next 7 years, referred to by some as the 7 years of tribulation, as we're getting ready to see things that we've never seen before and experience things that we've never experienced before. And I am here, and I have been called to this uncomfortable and unpopular position because I have been where a lot of you are going, where I have had to leave everything that I thought I knew and enter into the unknown. And let me tell you, it's not as scary as it appears. It's intimidating. I'm not going to lessen that, but it's worth the journey. The Most High is so much bigger than any book, any man's idea of it, any interpretation of any religion. The Most High, that is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniclavoyant. Trust me, you can come on across the bridge and enter into an entirely new paradigm, a new earth where the Christ in you becomes the hope of glory, and the kingdom that is within you is manifested in present day America. I'm getting ready to jump into a whole nother video, so I'm going to leave it here. And lovelies, as always, remember this: your life is designed to be filled with love, light, and bliss. And finally, words create the worlds we live in. Choose yours wisely. Make them lovely. I appreciate you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to this brand new channel, telling a friend, telling an enemy, how about that, to check me out, and I'll see you next time.